Honorable Y. Ramakrishna Garu is our founder, registrar, Nalsara University of Law. In fact, I had the honor of getting admitted to this university when Mr. Ramakrishna Garu was the registrar of this university in 99. Distinguished secretaries of various district legal societies, Member Secretary, State Legal Society, Ravi Kumar Garu, Secretary, Legal Aid Committee, Mr. Mohan Rao Garu, my country director, Gregory Rake, Dr. T. Huck, Council for Social Development Director, all the distinguished participants. I just take around 10 to 15 minutes to take you across what is the land situation in the state, why we gathered here, why poor are suffering, how much is the magnitude of the problem. So there is a PPT which is being circulated, so I will not run across all the slides. Let me speak from my experience of last 8 years working with rural poor and tribal families, and later on you can anyway see the PowerPoint presentation which has a detailed description of what I'm talking. Let me only quote two instances which will tell you if a poor person has a land problem, how much he suffers, how much he loses, and take you to only two cases. One in a tribal area which I started describing in my speech in the inaugural session. This lady, Srimati Mankubai, a tribal woman from Adilabad district, very near to Utnur, and their family has lost about 18 acres of land somewhere in 1960s. They don't know when they lost the land. But the story told by the family is that they mortgaged the land to a local money lender, and when they tried to get back the land, they were told that they already purchased the land, so there is no question of returning the land. So case is filed in agency courts, starting from SDC, Tribal Welfare Court, gone to the agent court, then gone to the government. In every place, the courts told it's a tribal land, it has to be restored back to the tribal family. And it gone to High Court. Finally, the decision of the Honorable High Court is stating that this transaction happened prior to the land LTR came into force in Telangana, which is 1963. So the transaction happened much before 63. LTR has no application. Land need not be given back to the tribal family. That's the decision of Honorable High Court in 84. And the family lost hope of getting back the land. In 2004, when the next generation got little aware about their rights and started again fighting for the land, Srimati Mankubai filed a complaint to agent again, stating that I lost this land, can you do something about it? And again, there's a notice issued by the tribal authorities saying that there's a case with us, don't dispose your property, so long as we are deciding this case. And immediately the non-tribal approached High Court stating that officers are harassing me in spite of order from the Honorable High Court. And at that stage, the case came to us in 2004 and 5, trying to see whether we can help or not. And when we looked at it, it looked as almost impossible that there's a decision of the court and it's difficult to get back the land. But when we started reading carefully about the Honorable High Court order, it said LTR doesn't apply because it's before the cutoff date. But if the party has any other appropriate remedy, they can go under that remedy and to appropriate forum. And I noticed that there is a law in place before 63. The Telangana Tenancy Act is there. If there's agricultural land transfer is happening, there is a agreement available there. And second, there is a change of hands of that land even after 63. So there's a fresh LTR case can be filed. Case can be filed in the agency court. And when digging the land records, we noticed that it's a government land which is given to this tribal family. So there's a violation under POT Act 9/77. So I got three options available before me to fight in a case which sounded to be next to impossible. Then we fought the case. We filed a case before MRO court and got an order in 2 months' time, and land is actually restored back. And why I'm stating this example, my intervention was only a couple of days, 1 week or 10 days, with digging the facts and understanding the case and going to the right forum. And they didn't have that kind of minimum help available to them. That's why they could not win the case for 37 years. And finally, they got back the land with a small intervention. And when Honorable Prakash Rao Garu was there and was addressing judges in Khammam districts, I was sharing another example. And I also mentioned in my inaugural session, in tribal area, 51% of land, in spite of LTR, is in the hands of non-tribals. And in fact, I had an opportunity to look into almost 6,000 cases. Why these cases gone against the tribals? What is the reason? One simple reason which we have noticed, in all these non-tribals, in all these cases, they produce a white paper document stating that they have purchased land before such and such a cutoff date and saying that Act doesn't apply to us, so you drop the case. And they also produce another document, a certified copy of Adangal or Pahani, stating that they are in possession of the land. And no single question is asked, what is the evidentiary value of this white paper say document? And if they are insisted on a land record of year when the transaction actually happened, all those cases would have been decided in favor of tribals. But that simple question was not asked on behalf of the tribals, because the Tribal Development Department, which is fighting cases on behalf of the tribals, that simple question was not asked. In fact, I'm sharing this example after reading around 6,000 case files starting from Adilabad to Srikakulam. That was the story. Now let's come to the plain area. If you look at the kind of land problems, one data which Vice Chancellor was quoting from the Planning Commission, it says 28% of land in peri-urban areas is in litigation and pending in courts, and in rural areas it's about 2%. But if you take into account all kind of land problems which poor are facing, what I mean by land problem, one can feel secured about land rights only if they have those three ingredients which we were talking since morning. Number one, it's not just enough to physically possess a piece of land. It is important that I should have a patta in my hand saying that this is my land, patta given by the government. And even if I have patta plus land, that is not sufficient. There are around 20 land records maintained by the Revenue Department. If my name is not there in the revenue record, even if I have a patta and physical possession, I still have a problem because I have not granted that title from the government and my name is not there in records. If you go to any rural area, open any pahani of any village or adangal in Andhra area, 50 to 60%, sometimes 80% of pahani is inaccurate. You find the dead person's names in there, extent wrongly entered, survey number wrongly entered. If that is the situation, if you take into account of all these kind of issues of insecurity, either not having patta, not having name in the record, or no physical possession. For example, all government land distribution. AP government proudly claims that 50 lakh acres of land is distributed to the landless poor in this state, which is highest in the country. But half of those families, they don't possess land because patta is only given. Land is never shown. And there are so many stories every village. Or on the same piece of land, more than once patta is granted. If you take into all these issues, there is about 40% of, at least, a conservative estimate, at least 40% of rural land has some other problem. That means they have a land, but they can't use it properly. They don't have a secure land right. And once we've done an analysis of what kind of problems are there in the village, what types of land problems, we came out with a list of 70 issues, 70 different land problems. In fact, in our reading material given to you, there is a list of all the land problems. We provided all the 70 list. If that is a situation, then what is the solution? What is the problem exactly? Why these kind of issues are there? We all agree one fundamental problem is with the land records, improper maintenance of land records. And land records is now in a very pathetic shape. In last 10-15 years, we are not even writing Adangal and Pahani.
Why 20 years? From the moment the village officer system is abolished.
87, and since then, at least after some time, but if you look at last 10-15 years, it's in a pathetic situation. That's a root cause. Number two, the revenue machinery, which is a primary authority dealing with land problems, because only title matters comes to civil courts and other matters with the revenue courts. And I was sharing with esteemed guests in today's inaugural session also saying that government appointed committee, its own land committee under chairmanship of Mr. Koni Rangarao, who passed away, and there are 3 members from government. They've done an extensive analysis of land problems in this state. And it's their preamble, they state revenue department is at the verge of paralysis, and there's no training provided to revenue officers. One fact which prominently comes out of that report. Number 2, it also says the legal support system, legal aid in relation to land, even though it is stated in the Legal Service Authorities Act, saying that legal aid should be also provided in revenue courts, but practically not available in cases of land. These 2 facts are observed by the Koni Rangarao Land Committee. So if you look at the reasons why poor are suffering, one reason we can attribute the land records. Second, the lack of legal support. Third, very importantly, lack of knowledge. If you go to rural areas, you ask them what is POT Act, what is the right, whether you need, what is passbook, what is title deed, why one has to have a passbook or title deed, what is 1B register. A complete lack of awareness about one's own rights. And number 2, they don't know where to go. You open up land case files in revenue courts, you'll have 2-3 files pending on same case, or in same files you'll have 2-3 different cases. Because people not knowing where to go, they just give a representation to Sarpanch, go to MLA, go to MRO, go to RDO, wherever is possible. They're running across pillar and post, trying to get their issue resolved, but they're not getting their issue resolved. This is a kind of pathetic situation. we are facing in Andhra and also in other states also. And if that is the situation, what should we do? And before I submit to this August gathering and what we can do, let me share a few efforts which are already being done in this state to address these land issues. Number one, from 2004 onwards, Government of Andhra Pradesh, Rural Development Department, they have launched a paralegal program. It's called a Legal Assistance Program for Land or Land Access Program. Under that, in every district, there is a land center which is established. It's also called Land and Legal Assistance Centers in Collector's Office, and which is coordinated by a lawyer, a legal coordinator. Plus, for each mandal, there was one youth selected from poor families, got trained as a paralegal and trying to help the poor families to get their land issue resolved. In fact, even on today, there are about 400 such paralegals who work across the state at a mandal level, trying to help the rural families. And all these people have got trained in Nalsar for about a week. They also got the field training. And the numbers till now, the number of families who they could help in last 3-4 years, if you look at it, is amazing. Around 4 lakh families have got the help from this paralegal program. So either getting their name entered in the land record, or getting their issue resolved, or getting a land through government land distribution. That is a kind of impact which the paralegal program has made till today. In fact, I think very same hall, when first batch of paralegals are getting trained, I think this is a very room where paralegals from Kadapa district were sitting. Honorable Justice Singhvi sir was there as a Chief Justice of AP High Court. He came down to interact with the paralegals. I think, sir, you are also there, and Justice Vives Rao Garu also there in the very hall, talking to the paralegals. In fact, I still remember, I quote always, when sir entered the room, he said, "Sir, Sunil, I have only 5 minutes, then I have an urgent meeting in city, I have to leave." But when he started interacting with the paralegals, he got so motivated and said, "No, I'm sitting here, I'm listening to them." He sat for 1 hour, and he stood up. There's a board here. "This is my landline number. If anybody has any help, please walk into my house. If you can't, I spend half an hour, at least I can give you 2 minutes to talk to you." That is the kind of patronage which the judiciary has given to the paralegal program. That's why in last 4 and 5 years' time, they could reach to so many people. And that's one experience we still now working on. Still we are working with these paralegals. So second experience, taking inspiration from IKP paralegal program. I think about 4 months back or 5 months back, Government of India, Ministry of Rural Development Department, Mr. Jairam Ramesh, Honorable Minister, has taken a decision to have a paralegal in all the states in India, part of National Rural Livelihood Mission. So that at least in LW areas, wherever the Naxal affected areas are there, in other places also, to have one dedicated paralegal working in each mandal, also have a paralegal exclusive office, so that they can reach out to the poor. That's going to come very soon, and that requires support from the judiciary. In fact, ministry also thinking that only if there is support from LSA, such a kind of program can continue and people can resolve issues. So those two models are there before us. And learning from those two models, in today's workshop, my intention, we were trying for a very long time to talk to LSA secretaries on this issue. And in fact, we've shared all our material we've developed on land issues personally to you. Some of my staff came and personally met you and gave some of the materials. We are thinking of two things. AP is a pioneering state in respect of the activities undertaken by the Legal Service Authority. Number one, there are dedicated officers for LSA in each district. I think it's not there in any other state. Number two, paralegal voluntary program started from Andhra Pradesh. It's a brainchild of AP, and there are more than, I think, 6,000 paralegal volunteers. Now it became 12,000 paralegal volunteers got trained on different matters, and which is highest in the country. My humble submission to all the officers who are sitting here, if all these 12,000 people can get a little more training on land, if they all act as volunteers on land also, even one paralegal volunteer helps 10 families in a year, you imagine how many number of issues which can get resolved. On today, there are 24 lakh issues listed in the website. IKP paralegal program, they've done an inventory of land problems, and they kept family-wise name in the website, that this is a family, this is a problem. If the 12,000 paralegal volunteers can take up land as an issue for about a year, and if the out of 24 lakh issues, even half of it is resolved, 12 lakh families in just 1 year time, they can get benefited. That's one, my humble submission. Second one I was talking about is the involvement of law students. In fact, all this program started as an intervention of the students, of Nalsar students, and I was a part of that team and leading that team in 2000. There's immense potential. There are 46 law colleges, 43 or 46 law colleges other than Nalsar, Almost every district has 1 or 2 law colleges. And if you can rope in all the law students in doing this kind of work, we've done some experiments in Warangal, we've done experiment in Kurnool, we've done some experiment in Kadapa and Visakhapatnam also. If we also take help of law students and they have a compulsory course on land, I'm very happy to share with you that NALSAR also started a course on land laws from this semester. It was not there before, but NALSAR started the course on land laws. In fact, Honorable Prakash Rao also will be taking some of the lectures, and I'm also there taking some of the lectures. So I'm honored to be there with Prakash Rao on those kind of classes. But my request is that there are more than 10,000 students studying at any given point of time in these 46 colleges. And there are passionate people. The only thing they lack is our support. They don't have a platform to work. Number two, they need some kind of training because you all know that what's the legal education quality in those law colleges. If we can take little initiative of grooming them, training them, and also utilizing their services in spreading legal awareness on land, at least legal awareness on land, there are thousands of families can receive that information and they can get benefited by it. So with these two requests, that one, how can we use paralegal volunteers in working on land? Number two, how we can utilize the services of law students. It can make a big difference. If you open my PowerPoint presentation, the last slide says, and first slide and last slide, that the reason for poverty in this country is lack of land. If you provide a piece of land, a secured piece of land, poverty can be eliminated from this country. Unfortunately, we try to give land, but not completely. At least with these kind of efforts, with active involvement of judiciary and law schools, I really believe that we can really complete the unfinished task of land reforms. Only if we can complete the unfinished task of land reforms, we can have a peaceful society, egalitarian society where everybody's rights are protected. Thank you very much for listening to me. Thank you, Chair, sir, for giving this opportunity to speak.